Somewhere right now, there's someone sitting in a 10-year-old car, wearing nothing special, drinking a regular coffee, and they have more money than most people in that parking lot combined. And they know it. And they're not going to tell anyone. Not today, not ever. This video is about why, and what that psychology reveals about wealth that almost nobody talks about. Because there's a pattern here. A real, identifiable, psychologically documented pattern, and it goes so much deeper than humility, deeper than modesty, deeper than not caring about appearances. The people who get rich and tell no one aren't just wired differently. At some point, something happened, something they saw or felt or lived through, and silence became the only option that made sense. And once you understand what that something is, you stop seeing quiet people the same way. You stop seeing money the same way. You might even stop seeing yourself the same way. I'm Berg, and this is Blue Money Mind. If you're new here, this channel is about the psychology behind money, the real stuff, the invisible stuff, the patterns most people never stop to examine. If that sounds like your kind of content, subscribe. You won't regret it. Now, let's talk about what's actually happening here. There's a version of this story that gets told all the time. The humble millionaire. The modest rich person who just doesn't care about appearances. And while that framing isn't completely wrong, it's incomplete in a way that matters. Because it turns the whole thing into a personality trait, like some people are just naturally humble and others aren't. Like the quiet, wealthy person simply has better values. But that's not really what the research shows. What the research shows is something more interesting and, honestly, more unsettling. Most people who get rich and tell no one didn't start out that way. They learned. Something happened, or a series of things happened, and at some point, silence became the smarter option. Not a philosophy, a decision, and usually a very specific one. But before we get there, let's look at something we almost never examine. Why do we expect wealthy people to show it in the first place? Think about that for a second. There's this deeply embedded social contract that most people operate under without ever questioning it. The idea that success should be visible. That if you've made it, people should be able to tell. We've been conditioned to read status through signals. The car, the watch, the neighborhood, the clothes. And when someone breaks that pattern, when someone has real money and gives you absolutely none of those signals, it registers as a violation. Not consciously, maybe, but emotionally it feels wrong, off, like they're not playing by the rules. And here's the thing. That reaction says a lot more about the observer than about the person being observed. We were trained to look for wealth in specific places, and when it isn't there, we don't update the map. We just assume the wealth isn't there either. The people who figured this out, who understood that the map was broken, are the ones who went quiet. And most of them didn't go quiet because of some Zen philosophy about materialism. They went quiet because they saw up close what happens when people know. And what happens is this. Relationships change. Not dramatically, not all at once. Subtly. The way a friend talks to you shifts slightly. A family member starts keeping score in a way they didn't before. Someone who used to ask how you were doing now asks what you're doing. And there's a difference. Suddenly you're expected to pick up every check. Suddenly your decisions are everyone's business. Suddenly you're the reference point for what's possible, and everyone around you is quietly recalibrating their feelings about their own life in comparison to yours. And some of those recalibrations come out as warmth, but a lot of them come out as resentment, even when no one admits it. Here's where the research gets fascinating. There's a field called envy research, actual scientific study of envy as a psychological phenomenon, and one of its most consistent findings is that envy is the only emotion almost no one will admit to feeling. Studies show that people will openly admit to anger, to pride, to jealousy and other forms. But envy? People deny it even in anonymous surveys. Because admitting envy means admitting that someone else's success bothers you, and that admission is socially illegitimate. So it goes underground. It disguises itself as concern, as criticism, as unsolicited advice. Ah, are you sure that's a good idea? Don't forget where you came from. Must be nice. These aren't neutral observations. They're envy wearing a costume. And people who have experienced wealth, or who are quietly building it, learn to recognize that costume very quickly. That recognition is often what triggers the silence. Now here's where things get more complex, because not everyone who hides their wealth is operating from the same place. Some people go quiet because they've genuinely processed what wealth means to them. They have what psychologists call an internal locus of control. Their sense of success doesn't depend on external confirmation. They don't need the car to prove to themselves that they made it. They already know. And that's actually a psychologically healthy place to be. But others go quiet out of fear, or guilt, or because they've never fully integrated the fact that their financial reality has changed. There's even a clinical term for this: sudden wealth syndrome, a psychological state where the overwhelming pressure of unexpected financial change creates emotional symptoms: isolation, paranoia, identity confusion, guilt. The guilt, in particular, is striking. Researchers compare it to survivor's guilt, this uncomfortable feeling that you have something others don't and that somehow you shouldn't. And when guilt is running the show, silence isn't freedom, it's armor. There's a real difference between those two things, and it matters. But here's the part that most conversations about wealth never reach, the part that I think is the most important. There's a paradox buried in all of this. When wealth becomes invisible, truly invisible, not performed modesty but genuine invisibility, something strange happens. It accumulates power in a way that visible wealth simply cannot. Not status, not social leverage, real power. Freedom of movement, relationships that exist on honest terms, an identity that isn't defined by money, which means it also can't be threatened by money. The invisible wealthy person walks into any room and is evaluated on exactly who they are, not what they appear to have. And because their lifestyle doesn't expand every time their account does, their wealth compounds quietly, without friction, without the social tax that comes with being known as rich. The invisibility isn't the side effect of the strategy. The invisibility is the strategy. And the people who understand that aren't being modest, they're being precise. There's a phrase that floats around in financial culture: money screams, wealth whispers. It's a clean line. But I think the more interesting version of it is this: the person who screams needs you to hear them. The person who whispers has already stopped needing that. And that shift, from needing the audience to not needing it, is the real psychological transition. It's not about the money. It has never been about the money. It's about where you locate your sense of reality, whether you need the external world to confirm that what you've built is real. And the people who get rich and tell no one have, at some point, consciously or not, stopped asking the world to answer that question for them. They already know the answer. And that kind of quiet confidence is something that no car, no watch, no display of any kind can manufacture. So, here's what I'll leave you with. You've spent your whole life learning to read wealth through signals, through what people wear, what they drive, how they carry themselves in a room. And most of that reading is wrong. Not a little wrong, systematically, structurally wrong. The wealthiest person in most rooms you've ever been in was probably someone you dismissed, someone boring looking, someone whose lifestyle gave you nothing to envy. And the question that should follow you out of this video isn't who around you might be hiding something. The question is, what are you displaying, and why? What signals are you sending out, and who are you sending them to? And what would it mean if you stopped, if you already knew, if you didn't need anyone else to confirm it? That's the real psychology here, and it goes a lot deeper than money. If this video put into words something you've felt but never quite examined, drop it in the comments. I read them. And if this is the kind of content that helps you see people and yourself a little more clearly, subscribe to Blue Money Mind. There's a lot more where this came from.